Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host today, Kevin McIntosh, with another day, another opportunity to talk to the community alongside my colleague, Jake Schaf. How you doing, Jake?
I'm great, Kevin. Another great morning right here in the four communities, ready to get into it. Lots of great stuff to get into today.
Absolutely. First and foremost, starting off with breaking news, actually coming from our Greater West Bloomfield area. Armed robberies overnight in the West Bloomfield Orchard Lake area at approximately 8:40 p.m. on Wednesday, September 4th. Alerts were made from an employee at a convenience store near Green Lake Road and Richardson in West Bloomfield. The caller reported that a lone adult female had just entered the store, allegedly with a pistol, and robbed him for cash. The suspect left the store before the caller, or the store clerk, I should say, called the police actually. And approximately 15 minutes later, dispatch received other 911 calls from area businesses in the city of Orchard Lake near the intersection of Orchard Lake and Pontiac Trail concerning other armed robberies that had just took place allegedly with that same suspect. The suspect did flee the area prior to officers' arrival at that call also. But a short time later, an additional 911 call came from the CVS pharmacy located near Maple and Farmington Roads, where the caller reported there were 2 gunshots that were allegedly fired from that same adult female suspect. West Bloomfield police encountered that adult female suspect outside the parking lot of the CVS pharmacy upon arrival, and she was taken into custody. The preliminary investigation suggests that the adult female suspect acted alone, and there are currently no injuries that have been reported to anyone at this current time. There is still no known danger as of right now to the public at this time. The investigation is active and ongoing by both Orchard Lake and West Bloomfield Township police departments. If you know any information that can help West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake police departments with this case whatsoever, we are encouraging you in West Bloomfield to contact Detective Phil Pacheco, 248-975-8905. In the city of Orchard Lake specifically is encouraged to contact Detective Michael Clement. That's area code 248-682-2400. If you have any information that can help the police department in regards to this case. Now, Jake, we are unfortunate to talk about this in our community at this time to start the day off, but it is important information for the community to know and be aware of, and we are thankful for our local police authorities for actually getting this suspect into custody also.
Yes, very thankful for all of the work that the police departments do to help keep the four communities safe. I mean, this is never the kind of news you want to wake up to. It's always devastating to hear about stuff like this, but it's great to know that things are under control. The suspect has been taken into custody, and we'll see what happens from there. But it's good that this didn't turn into something that could have been a lot worse.
Correct. And per usual, as we find out more information right here at Civic Center TV's The Splash Live, we will relay that information to you and the entire Greater West Bloomfield community. But speaking of our West Bloomfield Police Department, they are actually honoring one of their fallen heroes. The police department is actually working with West Bloomfield Parks and the American Red Cross to set up a blood drive at the Senior Connect Center. That'll be on Friday, September 20th, by the way, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is all being done to honor the life, legacy, and memory of Sergeant Patrick O'Rourke, a fallen officer who was shot and killed in the line of duty back in 2012, by the way. So great effort being done. Senior Connect Center, September 20th, 10 a.m., 4 p.m. For more information, visit the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Police Department, West Bloomfield PD as well. Another great effort being done to honor one of a local fallen hero, Jake, as we continue to put light on the fallen heroes who have done great and gave back to our community.
For sure. It's always great for, especially an officer who's risked their lives and served to protect the city, and ones who have fallen in the line of duty. It's great to see that their legacy is being honored in this way. This is an incredible event. I can't wait for it all to come to fruition, and it's an amazing thing that the police department is doing, and parks.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. Like we just talked about. And like we said, visit their Facebook, West Bloomfield PD, for more information on how you can possibly help with that blood drive as well and when it is. But moving on a lighter note, we do have a local winner in Michigan's first ever I Voted sticker contest. If you remember us bringing up this story a few weeks ago right here on the Splash Live, there were 3 categories for winners in the contest. That was elementary/middle school, it was high school, and it was like a general population category of some sorts, if you want to say. And the winners have been announced, 3 for each category. In the general category, we have Kelsey from Livonia, Brianna from Grand Rapids, and Madeline from Livonia. In the elementary middle school category, Jane from Grosse Pointe, Gabby from Rockford, and Caitlin from Lansing. And in the high school department category, Olivia from Holly, Andrew from St. Louis, and right here from West Bloomfield, Michelle Leckman with the Deer with Sunglasses sticker that you're seeing right here on Civic Center TV. So congratulations to Michelle representing for West Bloomfield in the the first ever Michigan I Voted sticker contest. By the way, winner in the high school category. The 9 winning designs will be available for clerks to order and give out to voters this fall for the November 5th general election. Something to look forward to, and we're happy that we had a local resident representing, Jake. That's pretty nice. Her design making it on the I Voted sticker.
Absolutely, and it's great that they could incorporate something that's fun and exciting with the election. It's a nice way to get the community involved. Great to see so many results from not just West Bloomfield, from all across Michigan. Glad to have some representation from Livonia, where I'm from, and glad to see that everyone's result. I mean, all the stickers look amazing. Kevin, Michelle's looks great. All of them look great, and this is so much fun. Really, really happy for all the winners.
Yeah, pretty much everything that embodies the state of Michigan in general, from a lighthouse to a deer with glasses, just all different types of things. But you can check out those stickers again directly on the website, or just get more information about the contest in general, michigan.gov/vote for more information, and check out those stickers as well. Now, right here on Civic Center TV's The Splash Live, we do have some waste hauling updates for the Greater West Bloomfield community. Actually, we recently spoke with Priority Waste's Director of Public Relations and Government Affairs, Mr. Matt Allen. He provided us with an update on the status of their operations right here in West Bloomfield.
That West Bloomfield's camera technology has been installed on all of the trucks that have been allocated. We've right-sized the operational assets that are necessary to affect garbage, recycling, and compost service on a weekly basis, having same-day service. And so since our last update, we had a status with Steve Kaplan, the township supervisor, and we are now back to normal service rates in the community. And with the exception of some one-offs or perhaps a slowdown of service on a particular day, we're at one-day service in West Bloomfield, many weeks ahead of schedule.
And as they continue to make progress right here in our local community, we also asked Matt about how the calls from residents have changed throughout their entire progress.
Back in the beginning, when we were picking up everything that the previous provider had left all over the place and basically abandoned many of the communities to be on their own, waiting for us to show up, we came in as like the cavalry, and in 21 days, we cleared away everything that was left behind. The call volume was exceedingly high because of a phone integration issue from all the various lines that GFL had scattered all over Southeast Michigan, all had to be consolidated. Those issues were resolved within the first 21 days. The best thing is from there going forward, we were able to implement the technology in all the trucks, get the right trucks in there that were repaired and roadworthy, because as you may remember, out of the 450 trucks or so that were garbage trucks, 212 of them were not roadworthy. So it's kind of hard to do a full service job with less than half the trucks you need to make that happen. That's been corrected in West Bloomfield.
And while things are moving better on the front end of this entire transition, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor Steve Kaplan took some time with us right here on Civic Center TV's The Splash Live to give us an update on the litigation from GFL's lack of performance.
All right, there are two aspects. The first one is Priority Waste is our current carrier. They began July 1. We'll talk about Priority Waste if you wish, but concerning GFL, as you know, and as you mentioned, the Township Board unanimously voted at a recent meeting to institute litigation against GFL if GFL does not satisfy our residents for the poor performance provided by, an extremely poor performance by GFL during the month of June. So Tyler, we've discussed this, but during the 4 weeks in June, the service was essentially non-existent: garbage, recycling, and yard waste. And our residents were overwrought by that. Nobody wants to have garbage by the end of the driveway where raccoons are penetrating the bags and the horrible odor. So that's why we're trying to gain restitution or reparations for our residents. We have calculated that there are approximately 19,500 residents who received waste hauling benefits from GFL. And the approximate bill is $260 per year, so that's $5 per week. We're seeking $20 per household, and that would be a credit applied to the GFL upcoming invoices, Tyler.
And while we are actually continuously getting more information as it develops from Mr. Steve Kaplan, in regards to a specific timeline to when we can expect a conclusion or compensation from this GFL performance bond, Mr. Kaplan says it'll be a process, but they are fighting for the rights of the residents.
GFL still exists, but only for industrial waste hauling service. And we've informed them that we want our residents compensated. So we're waiting to hear back from them, but they might contest this, and there could be litigation in circuit court. The performance bond amount is $1.5 million. If we're involved in litigation, we would demonstrate to the court what we think our damages are, meaning the damages of our residents.
And while things continue to get ironed out, we will keep the community updated on both ends of the situation. But you can watch those interviews in their entirety on our website, civiccentertv.com. Click on the On Demand tab, and to make it easier, you can search Matt Allen or search Steve Kaplan, and it'll take you directly to those interviews, by the way. Now, in Sylvan Lake, there's some Poabic tile that is on display, and believe it or not, it has some historical significance to our local community. Now, if you are like me, before I actually got the opportunity to learn a little bit about it, I was asking, what is Poabic tile and what do they represent? So we actually recently had a chance to speak with Sylvan Lake resident Helen Jane Peters and from Poabic Pottery, Eric Graham, to tell us a little bit more about the Poabic tile on display in Sylvan Lake.
So actually, the entire installation there above the fireplace is Pewabic pottery, and was donated by our founder back in 1916. And it includes a various array of, along with mosaic, includes a various array of embossed iridescent tiles, along with some of our famous historic drip glazes and things like that. So it's just a wonderful thing, definitely, to have, as a part of the Sylvan Lake community. Kind of reviewing a bit of our history as well. We were founded in 1903 by Mary Chase Perry, later Stratton, an artist and educator, and Horace Calkins, a prominent dental supplier and kiln manufacturer. And to give us some context, Pewabic was founded the same year as Ford Motor Company. So it's definitely been around for a long time, and we're happy to still be going. It originally started out in an old stable studio in the Brush Park district of Detroit, and moved to our current location in 1907 after our founders expanded to the tile making business. Our founder, Mary, really began to grow with the ingredients and really wanted to know the what and why of the processes of glazing and creating pottery, even referring to her formula book as her most intimate friend. The first years were highly experimental as they went through many tests and trials, even many failures. However, I think to even their own surprise, the public really liked the look of the handmade tiles and items versus the mechanically made items during what was the golden age of the arts and crafts movement. Throughout our history, we definitely became mostly known for our architectural tile, which can be found throughout Metro Detroit and far beyond. This includes our iridescent glazes, like I mentioned in particular, which we are proud enough to still be producing today. Our founder received inspiration from the art of the Middle East in her quest to kind of replicate those dichroic surfaces that you see even in the installation there in Sylvan Lake. She would spray kerosene into the kiln at its peak temperature, which would cause a flash reduction environment, leaving different effects on the pottery surface and glazes. We still use the original clay mixer from 1912 in our current production as well, which would have been used to make those tiles there in the mosaic. And we've learned a lot about ceramic materials and their impact on the human body. So we did have to reformulate all of our historic glazes and no longer use those original recipes for safety reasons. But Pewabic really does hold a lot of nostalgia and warm feeling for Detroiters and even beyond today. We have many people who come in and discuss how they remember Pewabic tile in their grandparents' home, or that it's a tradition for them to purchase Pewabic for each other at the holidays, or even those that just remember our building being across the street from the Detroit Waterworks Park as a child. Many of the original staff stayed at Pewabic for their entire careers, and we even hear from many of their family members and descendants today. So for me, I'd say that's just an example of the pride of our employees that they've passed on to future generations. And Pewabic was also essentially founded by a woman in a time which was quite unheard of and almost impossible. So after 121 years, it's definitely an inspiration for the Sylvan Lake community to have a piece of that in one of her installations. And
Eric
it's
Graham
also
is with us on the Splash Live alongside Helen Jane Peters, talking about the Pewabic tile that is in the Sylvan Lake Community Center, as Eric said, donated back in 1916. And Helen Jane, with that being 108 years ago, this being one of the early Pewabic tiles that's become a historic gem of the Metro Detroit area, what significance does it have to the city of Sylvan Lake?
Well, it was originally put in the Detroit Free Press Fresh Air Camp Activities Building in 1916. So that dates the building as well, I think, because the fireplace would have been built at the same time there's a building. So that's very, very interesting. And the building next door was, the dining hall was designed by Albert Kahn, which we did not know until after it was raised, which is very sad. But those are two prominent Detroit people, Albert Kahn and Mary Chase Perry. So it's and to really know for sure, I have done a lot of research, had done until I met Eric, and who knows everything about Pewabic pottery. But he contacted me about 2 weeks ago, and we've been going back and forth with what we know, and he's added to my knowledge greatly. And then the big thing just last week was finding a newspaper article that gives us the exact date of, maybe not exact, but the date of when the tile was put in the fireplace. So this picture shows actually the removing of the tile from the old activities building to save and put into our new community center. Here is the man removing the tile for safekeeping, which we are thrilled to have.
And it does have a really interesting story of how it got from its former facility into now the Sylvan Lake Community Center. And that really tells the story there, the intricacy that went into moving that part of the old fireplace into that new fireplace that was designed really, Helen Jane, to mimic what was in that former building on that same location.
That's right. I really wanted to use fieldstone like they used in the old fireplace, but I was voted down. But we are very happy that we fought for the tile to be put in the new fireplace. So that was exciting.
And Eric, please continue.
That was put in 2008 when the building was completed.
And Eric, I understand that there's a bit of a connection between these tiles here in Sylvan Lake, both the original that is now in the community center and some of the other Pewabic tiles across our local area. Can you give us a little bit more insight into that connection?
Sure. So absolutely. The original designs, obviously, that are encompassed in the installation there in Sylvan Lake are still used at times. We still have all of our original historic molds. So those original shapes can be found in other installations across the U.S. Particularly, we have many in the Detroit area, such as the curved entranceways and windows in the Guardian building in downtown Detroit. The Detroit Institute of Arts, many public schools, healthcare institutions, along with many libraries and churches. Unfortunately, many installations over the years have been demolished, but that's why we're working hard to keep track of our historic installations across the world. So really, if anyone out there knows of any or thinks that they know of any historic installation of ours, we'd love to hear from you.
And Eric, just for a little bit more insight on that, given that this is an early age Pewabic tile from Pewabic pottery, how rare is it for one of these to still be in existence from over 100 years ago?
So the good thing is Pewabic has always held, a nostalgic and special name in the hearts of many Detroiters. So as long as it was identified as Pewabic, we find that many have been able to be saved. We do hear of many that have been, say, demolished or painted over, things like that, regretfully. But definitely that time frame, 1916, and especially one of Mary's earlier mosaic examples, it's definitely a special thing to still have that around. I would say it's on the rarer side.
Eric Graham is with us from Pewabic Pottery alongside Helen Jane Peters, Sylvan Lake's historian, on today's edition of The Splash Live, talking about a piece of history and a piece of art right in your own community center on Pontiac Drive in Sylvan Lake, a piece of Pewabic tile in the fireplace embedded there at the Sylvan Lake Community Center. And Helen Jane, this kind of parallels some other pieces of art that have some historical significance to Sylvan Lake at other parts of the city. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe a few others that are have some backstory to them in the city of Sylvan Lake? I know that one of those is a painting over at City Hall.
Yes, I was just going to tell you, Eric also thinks that the fireplace in Whitfield School may have been had Pewabic tile in it. We always thought that there's a little tile of a cat, and we always thought that was probably Pewabic. Well, Eric does not think that was, because they didn't make tiles like that one. But maybe the tiles on the front of the fireplace could have been Pewabic. And unfortunately, that building was razed in 2003. But above the fireplace is a painting of Mary and her little lamb, which was painted by Roy Gamble, another Detroit artist. So we are very fortunate, and I'm going to do a program about that Mary and her little lamb very soon. So we are very fortunate to have these very special, unique items from over 100 years ago, and they have been preserved and restored, and we're thankful for that, for the people that are interested in having these things remain forever and ever.
We talk a lot about our history here in Greater West Bloomfield. It's pretty unique to be able to see a piece of that history each and every day in one of the centers of our community. Eric, Helen, Jane, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting learning lesson for us here at the Splash Live of Civic Center TV to learn about Pewabic tile and the significance of it historically to our local community. Very interesting, because other than that, you could just see it as just regular tile. So we're glad to have Helen Jane Peters and Eric Graham on to talk about it. Find out more about Pewabic tile and everything about the organization, pewabic.org, PEWABIC.org for more information. Hey, did you know that September is Library Card Sign Up Month? We'll talk a little bit more about that with some of our local librarians. We are live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from Orchard Lake. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Hi, my name's Megan Tahako. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager for West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations to Civic Center TV for reaching 1 million views on YouTube. We appreciate all you do in this community to help share our stories. Megan Tahako, proud to be 1 in a million.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. West Bloomfield Township offers household hazardous waste and electronics drop-off events alongside shredding collection events for residents of West Bloomfield, Keugo Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake. And those days are actually coming up very, very soon. So join us right here live on Civic Center TV's The Splash Live. Executive Assistant to the Township Supervisor, we have Chris Darcy join us. Thank you so much for being here, Chris.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
So let's just go straight into it. You know, we have these events coming up. Can you just give us some details on the exact dates, the location, and why it's important for residents to participate?
Absolutely. Yes, these events are very popular with our residents. We hold them twice per year. The shredding event used to be combined, but now it's held separately. So the household hazardous waste event is coming up for seniors. It's Friday, September 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. And for all residents, it's Saturday, the 21st of September from 9 to noon. And it's right here in our parking lot on the Civic Center campus, right at Town Hall's parking lot. The reason this event is so important is that just so many items that are considered hazardous to our environment that we don't want to end up in the landfill. We want those items to be recycled properly, and we have the contractors on site to do that for us.
Yeah, and that's well said, especially with the transition that we're going through with GFL and priority. We don't want to make their job even harder by putting that hazardous waste just in the garbage. So it's good that we have this event and that we let people know about it also. Just to go down a few things, what are some of the most common hazardous items that people might unknowingly throw away that's important for them to actually dispose of properly?
Well, it's very important for people to, anything that's considered hazardous. I think people throw away maybe batteries, maybe light bulbs, not thinking too much about that. Maybe household cleaning solvents. You would just toss them out, you know, the can, just throw the can away or the container away when it's nearly empty. And it's really important, if you can hold on to those items, it's really important to properly dispose of those sorts of items through either the household hazardous waste twice yearly event, or you can take them, if you come to the township to collect a free voucher, you can take them any day, any time of the year to a location in Livonia. It's called ERG.
Okay. Great resource. See, great information that we needed to share right here. And with us live on the Splash, Executive Assistant to the Township Supervisor for West Bloomfield Township, Chris Darcy, joined us talking about Household Hazardous Waste Day, which is actually September 20th for seniors, 4 to 6 p.m. and Saturday, September 21st for residents, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. But we also have Shred Day coming up also. Since you said they are separate, can you give us more information on Shred Day, please?
Yes, I sure can. So the following weekend is the shredding event. So that would be, we have September 27th and 28th. So on this 27th, which is a Friday, that would be from 4 to 6 p.m. for seniors. And then for Saturday, 9 to noon again, and that would be for all residents. Now, what you would want to do is each resident can bring up to 50 pounds of shredding. The shredding is done on site, so no documents will leave this location that have not been properly shredded. So what they would want to do is just bring any documents that they have. It cannot be commercial type documents or like CDs or anything like that, but if it's just a paper documents, bank statements, credit card statements, medical information, whatever they have that they would like to dispose of safely, just bring that here in a bag or a box, and it just gets dumped right into the unit that gets shredded right here on site.
Exactly. Get that confidential information out of here and protect it from everybody. And that's what this Shred Day is ultimately about. Chris, we thank you so much for your time once again, for giving us this information. But for people who are watching, listening right now, if they do want to find out a little bit more, maybe that just went past them too fast, how can they find out more about Household Hazardous Waste Day and Shred Day?
Oh, please just give us a call right here. We'd love to help you. You can call the main number here, 248-451-4800. You can press 0 for the operator, and the call will come straight to myself or Steve Kaplan, and we'll help you out with any questions you have.
Perfect. Thank you again. Like we said, Chris Darcy, Executive Assistant to the Township Supervisor for West Bloomfield Township. We appreciate your time again.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
Absolutely. Great information, Jake, for us to kind of get out to the community. Like we said, Household Hazardous Waste Day, those bottles of cleaning fluids and liquids that you may or may not be using anymore, even probably motor oil, gasoline, things of that nature. But there is a list of things, but ultimately make sure we dispose of them properly at this event, along with Shred Day. Any credit card information, social security information, this is the proper place to dispose of. And I know a lot of people usually have truckloads, if not bags, of different hazardous waste and shred documents that they need to get rid of, Jake.
Yes, and I can confirm that firsthand because I was at the last Hazardous Waste Day because I did a story package for the Splash Live, and I remember seeing lines of cars dropping off their the things you said, the lighter fluids, the motor oil, things that they didn't need in their home anymore. There's a separate section for a lot of the electronics that they didn't need. So definitely a very, very busy event, and it's sure to be just as busy as what I saw back in the spring, Kevin.
No, ultimately, like I'm actually at home just watching like a bag of mail and envelopes that I probably need to I've been waiting to toss, but now you take advantage of it during opportunities like Shred Day. So find out more information about Shred Day and Household Hazardous Waste Day on the website WBTownship.org for more information. And as we also mentioned earlier in the show, September is Library Card Sign Up Month, and Read a Book Day is actually this week. So from our West Bloomfield Township Public Library to tell us a little bit about what they have going on, encourage you to go sign up for that library card. We have Information Services Librarian from West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Justine Flores. Thank you for being here.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, so we got a few things going on at the library we want to encourage our local residents to take advantage of. One of the things, 100 books to read in kindergarten. That's a program. Can we just talk about that program in general and how it supports early literacy in our community?
Of course. So I primarily work in the youth department of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, where we have a program called Grow Up Reading. We have different lists of recommended books for different ages, starting at birth with the 60 best books for babies, 75 books for young children, counting the days to kindergarten for preschool age, and then the 100 books for kindergarten, followed by 100 more. So we have all these lists of books. They're on display. When you first walk in, it will be on the wall. And we also accompany that with presentations in the neighborhood kindergarten classes that we go into to get kids excited about reading these books. And they get a poster where they can check off all the books that they read and come in for a reward book when they finish those 100.
Ooh, that's very interesting. We love that. And I like that you have it starting at a very, very young age, leading up to school, leading up to kindergarten and things of that nature. So that's very encouraging for parents that want to start early with their children. Now, since you did say you kind of focus on the youth, that's interesting. How do you approach curating the youth nonfiction collection also to ensure that they meet the educational needs of some of these young readers?
Yeah, so all of our collections, whether youth or adult, all of us go by a collection development policy. So those are created by our leadership here at the library, as well as our board, to make sure that our collections are current, are also promoting some of the classics, things that parents read that they might want to share with their children. For nonfiction especially, we want to keep them up to date with something like science. The information is going to change over the years. So definitely we want current things, we want classic things, and we listen to our patrons to see what they're interested in, what they want more of. If there's ever something that people are interested in and all that is checked out, I say, oh, we need to get some more of that.
Nice. All right. So we on the right path to getting what we need for our youth and encouraging that reading. We appreciate that. With us right here live on The Splash from West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Information Services Librarian and Youth Services Librarian, we have Justine Flores, just talking a little bit more about the resources available, programs at West Bloomfield Township Public Library for September being Library Card Sign Up Month. So I want to also talk about something else that I just found out is available there. ESL kits. If I'm not mistaken, English as a second language. Can you share a little bit more about how these kits are available at the library and how they assist the non-native English speaking residents in our community?
Right. So we have such a diverse community with people from all over the world that might speak English as a second, third, fourth, fifth language. So all of our English language learners, from children to adults, have so many resources here that they can look into, whether that's books or kits or online databases. We have things like Rosetta Stone you can use for free with your library card. But we do have these kits, they're backpacks. Some of them are language-based. Some of them are citizenship-based for anyone that might be becoming a U.S. citizen. And then we also have other language kits that we make. I have ones for Spanish, Arabic, Hebrew, Japanese, and coming soon are Korean, French, and German, with more to come soon.
Nice. Nice. Ooh, okay. So if you're interested in learning a second language or sharpening up your skills on it, that seemed like a great resource. With us right here live on The Splash, West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Information Services Librarian Justine Flores. Now, I want to also ask you, since it is Library Card Sign-Up Month, let's just get to it exactly. What are some of the benefits of our residents having a library card that you would like to highlight yourself?
Yeah, so we are so excited that it's Library Card Sign Up Month. We always try to make it more and more accessible to get library cards. So if you don't already have a library card, all you need is to bring your ID to the front desk at the lobby when you first walk into the library, and they'll get you signed up for a library card. We also have student cards available for students who go to West Bloomfield Township Public Schools, even if they don't live in West Bloomfield. So with your library card, of course, you can check out all of our collections, and that includes books and kits, and we have things like telescopes and metal detectors and all kinds of things, and it allows you to use our online databases like I mentioned before. We have language learning, we have great courses, we have ebooks, e-videos, audiobooks, all of those things that you might already be paying for, you can get for free with your library card. So why not?
Nice. I love that. And that's just, and that's why I love that we have you here to talk about that, because it's not just books and magazines. It's way beyond that we can take advantage of. Yes, yes. Sure. I love that. Thank you for explaining that. Lastly, any additional information real quick before we let you go, you want to let the community let them know about in regards to the library?
Yeah, so we just had we just finished up summer reading, which is a really busy time of the year, which means now we're getting ready for fall, all kinds of fall programs you can find in our event calendar in print or on our website. We do have an open house on September 21st, that's a Saturday, and we're going to show off some of our new spaces, our community commons, our storybook trail, so indoor, outdoor new spaces that we're very excited about.
Oh, nice, nice. So many beautiful, wonderful educational resources available at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. We want to thank you again for joining us, Information Services Librarian Justine Flores. We appreciate your time.
Have a great day.
Absolutely. You have a better one. Oh, man, I love the library. It's such a great place to just go chill, get some resources. If you want to read, of course, if you just want to go meditate, they have that room available too, Jake. But so many great things going on that's available for our local residents right here in West Bloomfield, Jake.
Absolutely. So many great resources available at the library, and it's always great to hear about the new and exciting things they're doing to help out the community.
No, absolutely. But there are other things going on, other different types of energies going on in West Bloomfield, specifically with football kicking off. We are all in the support of our West Bloomfield Lakers, but we're getting ready for that Lions season as well, Jake.
That's all right. We've spent a lot of time focusing on the West Bloomfield Lakers, but now it's time we start paying attention to the big dogs, or in this case, the big cats, Kevin. Lions football is back, and they are getting ready to take on their very first game this Sunday Night Football against the LA Rams. It's sure to be an exciting game, and you can feel the energy already start to radiate right here in Michigan, especially right here in West Bloomfield. And joining us right now on The Splash, we have West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder and Senior Elections Coordinator Tony Weatherly. Thank you both so much for being with us today.
It's fun to be here today, Jake.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Love to see you both repping the Lions merch, getting ready. I can feel the energy through the screen. So let's get right into it. How does it feel to have Lions Mania right back here in Michigan?
I would say we like to be a little cautious. We watch all of these, rah-rahs and we get nervous. We don't want it to do anything to jinx it. So we're excited, and we do have a lot of fun in our office. And we're looking forward to a great season. We're proud of our Lions. I'm more the brand hype girl, and I have Tony here, who's more of the football guy. So I'm going to let Tony answer from a football perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective, I've been a Lions fan my whole life, and I don't think I've ever seen the city and the community and surrounding areas as excited for the Lions, as many people wearing Honolulu blue out and about constantly. I've never seen it in my life, and I'm very excited and looking forward to this season.
Absolutely. It's such a unique feeling, especially because this is probably the best team the Lions have had in a very, very long time. They could be contending for the Super Bowl this year. And Tony, I do want to just go into a little bit more about your connection to the Lions and why the team is so special for you.
I don't know. I guess, it's one of those things when you're born and raised in this area and you grew up here, and it just becomes part of your blood, and you root. And we were the lovable losers for so long, and now we're at the top of the league, and it's very inspiring. I don't know how I will be able to control myself if we actually make it to the big games, so we will see how that goes. But I've been a Lions fan ever since I was a little kid, even back to the days of the Silverdome.
Wow, that is absolute dedication. And you're right, it's going to be crazy to imagine just how the state is going to react when and if the Lions take home the Super Bowl trophy. For those just joining us on The Splash, I'm here with Debbie Binder, West Bloomfield Township Clerk, and Tony Weatherly, Senior Elections Coordinator for West Bloomfield, talking about Lions Mania coming back here to Michigan and what they're seeing from the citizens of West Bloomfield. And that's what I want to get into right now. How have you seen the township start to prepare and start to get ready for this exciting Lions season?
I think so far it's been a lot of chatter. I think there's, as you see the cover of Sports Illustrated in different places, the Lions are featured. You can see people engaged in what the season is going to be like. I kind of laughed as you asked Tony the last question. My love of the Lions began because I felt badly that people were so mean to them, and I wanted to cheer on the underdog. And I was always afraid that if they started winning, people would lose interest, because it seemed like the fandom was in loving to hate the Lions. But the opposite has happened, and the city has been energized and ignited and excited and going down there last year and the tours with the spirit of Detroit and a Lions jersey. It's just a whole new thing to see. So I think that has come out to the suburbs as well and come out to West Bloomfield. We're all excited. We have a whole new Lions. We have a whole new team, and we're contenders now. And I think just the fact that we're looking at our team as contenders, we haven't done that in a long time. So it's really exciting.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right in that the reaction to the Lions team getting this momentum and doing so well last year has been nothing but positive. And it's always great to see so much support rallying around this team. And I also want to get into how does sports in general, especially something like this, help to unify the people of West Bloomfield and the people of Michigan?
Anytime you can unite around a common cause is always a source of uniting. So I think that that's what we're seeing is people are finding a love of Detroit and Detroit sports that brings them together rather than brings them apart. I mean, I think everyone, anytime there's something that comes out of Detroit, really it's been an amazing year for Detroit. When you look at our Lions, you look at the draft that took place here and put Detroit on a national stage doing an outstanding job of attracting a record crowd. You look at Michigan Central and the new development by the Ford Corporation, Ford Motor Company, and you look at the concert that opened the Michigan Central. It's been a remarkable year for the city of Detroit, and I think it's brought everyone in Detroit together, whether they're in the suburbs or the city, for a common goal of, look, we now look great on a world stage. So it's been exciting, and anytime that Detroit looks great, we're suburban Detroit, so we look great as well.
It's always great to see. Thank you both so much for taking the time to be with us today. I got one more question for you before we go. Looking into this season, it's the last couple days before we get started. What are your hopes and your predictions from the Lions this year?
I guess I'll start. My hopes. My hopes is a Super Bowl. That would be the greatest thing that's ever happened sports-wise in this city. I'm not sure how the city will handle it. I'm sure they'll do great. My expectations are I want to win the division. I want to go back to the playoffs. I want to play at home for at least a game or two. But I would say 12-5 would be my prediction.
And I would say that my hope is the Super Bowl. I mean, that would certainly be wonderful. But I have to say I'm probably not the most competitive person. I do hope we have a great postseason, and the Super Bowl would be amazing. But I am so proud of our Lions right now that whatever they do, as long as they do their best, I'm really proud of them.
That's all you can hope for. Debbie, Tony, thank you so much for being with us today, talking about the Lions. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jake.
Absolutely. So much excitement just radiating from the screen, Kevin. I absolutely cannot wait for Sunday, and I'm sure that the rest of the city can't wait either.
Oh, man, Tony just started to hype me up for the season. I can't wait. I got that Honolulu Blue rushing through my blood also. So as we get prepared for that season and home opener, we will keep everybody updated with more stories. But there's a local event going on right here in West Bloomfield that we want to talk about, an art series right here at the Art and Frame of West Bloomfield. So we recently actually had an opportunity to talk to some of the artists and curators from that event, Daniel Parker and Kaya Shipment, and they actually explained a little bit more about the Cartoons and Cereal 2-day art event.
Well, it happened a long time ago, actually. It started maybe before the pandemic, probably before I moved back to Michigan, actually. I wanted to be able to put a platform together and, just basically get artists that I know in the city that wanted to be a part of the event, because we've had a rough 5 years with the pandemic and everything. And with that being said, boredom happened, and then with boredom, we didn't have anything during the pandemic to do. So during the pandemic, I started jotting down a lot of notes. Started thinking about, like, you had a lot of time, had a lot of thoughts, and basically, like, I had I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous, but I basically had a lot of time on my hands to basically come up with this idea of what I watched as a kid, like a lot of things that brought a lot of joy when I was a kid, and I wanted to be able to display that on some art, basically. My grandmother passed in 2018, and that was the motivation for me right there. Everything began.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, so with her passing, she gave me the motivation to want to put together this show. Basically how I grew up. I grew up in a house with a big family. We all used to get up in the morning and watch cartoons, eat a lot of cereal. And with that, that's how I had a passion with art. So I started drawing, and then, when my grandmother passed, I kept hearing her voice of, do something, like create. She always knew I knew how to draw, so she would always tell me to keep drawing. I kept hearing her voice. So I started drawing, then eventually started messing around with some paints. And then I moved back to Detroit, ended up getting back with my mentor. And we did a few murals around the city. And then, like I said, during the pandemic, I just had a lot of time to really register everything. And I came up with these ideas. And then I had a host of friends that basically knew how to do art as well, that was passionate. And we all had similar backgrounds in childhood. So, everybody gets a lot of inspiration from, their childhood. So that's the basis and the premise of it.
Yeah, I like to hear that, Daniel, and that's great too, because I'm an advocate for art and creativity in general, and we talk about that a lot right here on this platform. Continuing with you real quick, Daniel, and then Kai, I want you to actually answer and add on to this too. How did you curate the group exhibition? What criteria did you use for the artists and their work to be displayed?
For me, well, just what was the story behind that? Like, what was the story of like, when you hear a cartoon and cereal, what do you think of? Like, what do you get that? A lot of them had was family oriented. A lot of them, a lot of the responses I got, and then a lot of the works that I've seen. A lot of people were passionate and had a lot of, like I said, a lot of the similar interests, and that's kind of how we picked it. And a lot of them are a lot of seasoned artists as well. So I've done shows with them around the city, and some of them I know, like they're really great friends. So.
And
Kai, you too, want to add on?
Yeah, of course. Like Danny said, a lot of it started with what were they saying, and we wanted to keep it similar to like things that Danny was doing, taking inspiration from his like family, his upbringing, continuing on that conversation, kind of like of storytelling, this history, this legacy. And then even beyond that, looking stylistically, we wanted to capture a range. So looking at things that were more quote unquote animated or cartoonish, but in a style that was like super like elevated and fun and familiar. And then also looking at things that were more on the realism side. Just because even looking at Danny's own work, he blends the two kind of like effortlessly. So we wanted something that felt very native to his own styles, looking at all different types of factors.
Nice. And I love how it takes so many different perspectives to come through, so many different, even you doing a survey, Daniel, to kind of get people's feel for even just the title. I love all the work that went into this actual planning for this event. With us right here live on The Splash, talking about an art event series happening at Art and Frame in West Bloomfield. We have curators and artists for that event, Daniel Parker and Kaya Shipman, excuse me. Now, I want to ask you about this, going back to you, Daniel, real quick. Why is it important or significant for you all to partner with a business locally in West Bloomfield like Art and Frame for your art event?
I just felt like it made sense, and then just going in there and talking to Bradley and just seeing how passionate he was about what he does. Like, it was certain things I didn't know about framing, and I was just sitting there. It was supposed to be like when I initially met with him, we were supposed to meet for a half an hour. I ended up being in the store with him for 4 hours just because we were just talking about life, talking about, his craft, talking about the different frames and the glass. And I was like, man, I'm an artist, and I never really thought about that. You know what I mean? I never really thought about that aspect as far as the framing. And, framing is so important to your art. Like, it's the preservation of it, it like keeps the art together, and it makes it just look so much, the presentation just looks so much better. And he had so many different styles in there. And like I said, he was very passionate. And then I was like, I'm doing the show. So I'm bringing the source to you. You make the frame. I'm bringing the artist to you. So it just made a lot of sense, And then also he's going to be able to enlighten so many of the artists in the community,
Yes, no, that's great. That's a great point right there. And I've had a chance to talk to Brad too over at Art and Frame. Great people over there. I love everything that they're doing. And like you said, framing your artwork is a whole nother aspect to the artwork in itself. That's art itself. You know what I'm saying? As you probably already knew, like there's certain types of framing that helps with certain types of pictures, preserve it a little bit better, makes it look a whole bunch nicer also. And like I said, I already know you know about that. So great information right there. Kaya, getting to you real quick. How do you believe community events like this play a role in supporting and amplifying the voices of local artists?
I think, I know this saying is for raising children, but I use it regardless. It takes a village. And I think even like looking at like the month of design, Art and Frame, us as individuals, us as brands, the other artists, it really does take everyone's involvement for everyone's success. So having Bradley come and offering the space and having something that was already in line with storytelling, that's one thing. Having the support of Design Corps, that's another thing. Having the support of the artists and just having them willing to participate and believe in us, that's like a whole other thing. So when everybody kind of puts this like best foot forward and is like wanting to do this more like community-based events, one, it helps not only themselves, but everybody in their community. And when that's going on, it's like almost inevitable for everybody to kind of level up. And I know me and Danny and everybody involved, we kind of like move like that. And I know Detroit as a whole moves like that. So
yes, ma'am.
We're just going to keep going.
Yeah. No, I get it. And no, the way you put it, it just makes sense. Like, we need these voices, these opportunities, these platforms and spaces for our local artists to express themselves. This is the way that we express ourselves. I'm including myself in that as an artist. This is the way we express ourselves, through that type of art. So to have these platforms and collaborate with each other and with businesses, it makes so much of a difference. We kind of running low on time, but real quick, before we get out of here, Daniel, going to you real quick. What do you hope attendees will engage, or how do you hope attendees will engage with the art and the activities during the exhibition?
I hope they engage by just, talking to your neighbor, getting familiar, also just reflecting and taking a step back and looking at, some of the things that they had as a child that they, maybe took for granted, as we get to these new ages and new times, we understand that time is of the essence. And, some of those things, technology, it just lets you know how things just keep moving. Nothing stays the same. And, so one item may be able to take you back, and then it's also funny, certain generations may not have seen or used a VCR, something so simple, man, so I'm going to have a few different items in there from the past. I actually have a lot of old stuff from my childhood that I'm going to have that my mom preserved in a box, so it's all going to be scattered around. So it's going to be fun, and it's going to be interactive, and I hope everybody can just reflect and, like I said, just enjoy the moment and have a little bit of nostalgia for a couple of days.
Bro. And don't forget, you can rewatch everything that you missed in regards to our interview on our website, civiccentertv.com, to recap everything on our on-demand tab. But we are live, local, social. It is the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
That West Bloomfield's camera technology has been